The moon landing fraud conspiracy theory alleges that the historic Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969 was a meticulously orchestrated hoax by the United States government. Proponents of this theory contend that the entire event was staged on Earth for political and technological supremacy, rather than being an authentic space exploration achievement. Let's delve into the main claims put forth by critics of the moon landing and assess their validity. Anomalies in photos and videos. Critics often point out anomalies in photos and videos from the moon landing, such as the lack of stars in the sky, the appearance of shadows, and the seemingly rippling American flag. However, these perceived anomalies can be explained by the unique characteristics of the lunar environment and the properties of light. Absence of stars. The absence of stars in the moon landing photos is due to the fact that the lunar surface reflects sunlight extremely well. This causes the camera settings to be adjusted to capture the brightly lit landscape, which makes faint stars virtually invisible. Shadows. The moon's lack of atmosphere results in a sharp contrast between light and shadow. Shadows appear darker and more defined than they do on Earth due to the absence of scattering. The uneven terrain and rough surface also contribute to the varying lengths and directions of shadows. Flag waving. The American flag appears to wave in some photos due to its construction. The flag had a horizontal rod along the top to keep it extended, which caused the flag to look like it was waving when the astronauts were placing it in the lunar soil. In the vacuum of space, the flag's movement would not have been caused by air currents, but rather the astronauts' actions. Van Allen radiation belt. Critics suggest that the intense radiation in the Van Allen radiation belts surrounding Earth would have been lethal to the astronauts, making the moon landing impossible. However, this claim is misleading due to the following reasons. Transit time. The Apollo spacecraft traveled through the thinnest parts of the Van Allen belts during a relatively short period. This minimized the astronauts' exposure to radiation. Shielding. The spacecraft's construction included shielding to protect the astronauts from radiation. Additionally, the aluminum hull of the spacecraft absorbed and deflected a significant portion of the radiation. Cumulative exposure. The total radiation dose received during the moon mission was within safe limits, and the exposure did not pose a significant health risk to the astronauts over the course of the mission. Lack of blast crater. Skeptics point to the absence of a visible blast crater beneath the lunar module as evidence that the landing was staged. However, this claim is misleading due to the unique characteristics of the moon's surface. Lunar regolith. The moon's surface is covered in a layer of fine, powdery dust called regolith. When the lunar module's descent engine fired, it dispersed the regolith in all directions, preventing the formation of a traditional crater. The engine's exhaust gases scattered the loose material rather than displacing it in a concentrated way. Microgravity. The reduced lunar gravity, 1/6 of Earth's gravity, also played a role in how the lunar module interacted with the surface. The module's descent was controlled carefully to ensure a soft landing without creating a deep crater. Photography, lighting, and shadows. Critics often raise questions about the lighting and shadows in moon landing photos, suggesting that multiple light sources were used. However, this claim can be debunked through the following explanations. Direct sunlight. On the moon, there is no atmosphere to scatter sunlight, resulting in direct and harsh lighting conditions. This causes objects to cast sharp, dark shadows with well-defined edges. Uneven terrain. The lunar surface is uneven and covered with craters and boulders. This uneven terrain contributes to the varied directions and lengths of shadows in the photographs. Reflexive surface. The lunar surface reflects sunlight effectively, bouncing light in various directions. This can cause illuminated areas to appear brighter than expected, contributing to the complex lighting patterns. Camera settings. The cameras used during the moon missions were adjusted to capture the high contrast between bright sunlit areas and dark shadows. This adjustment can result in shadows appearing deeper and more pronounced. Film studio techniques. Some conspiracy theorists claim that the moon landing was filmed on Earth using advanced studio techniques. However, this claim lacks credibility for several reasons. Technological limitations. The special effects technology available in the late 1960s was not advanced enough to convincingly simulate the moon's surface, microgravity, and other unique conditions. Documentation and testimonies. Thousands of people were involved in the Apollo program, including astronauts, engineers, technicians, and support staff. The extensive documentation, technical details, and testimonies from these individuals make it implausible that a secret production of such magnitude could have been kept hidden. Physical realism. Detailed analysis of moon landing footage shows the behavior of dust, rock particles, and astronaut movements consistent with a low-gravity environment. Simulating these physical behaviors convincingly in a studio would have been extremely challenging. Cold War propaganda. Critics argue that the moon landing was staged as a form of Cold War propaganda to boost American prestige. However, this claim overlooks several key factors. Global audience. The moon landing was broadcast to a worldwide audience, including countries with competing political ideologies. If the event had been fabricated, it would have required the cooperation and silence of people across the globe, including potential rivals of the United States. Reputational risk. If evidence emerged suggesting that the moon landing was a hoax, the consequences for the credibility of the United States would have been catastrophic. The scientific community, media, and other nations would have vigorously scrutinized the claims, making it nearly impossible to maintain such a large-scale deception. Positive impact. While the moon landing had geopolitical implications, its primary focus was on advancing science, technology, and human achievement. The United States' success was celebrated on a global scale for its contributions to human progress. These explanations illustrate that while the moon landing conspiracy theories might raise questions, there are logical and scientifically grounded reasons for the phenomena observed during the Apollo missions. It's important to consider all available evidence, expert testimony, and scientific understanding to arrive at accurate conclusions about historical events.